Today, we're going to continue looking at ways to solve systems of linear equations. And our way for today is using a graphing calculator. So our graphing calculator makes graphs quickly. It also finds solutions, if there are solutions, quickly. We just need to know how to do that. So if you have a graphing calculator, a Texas Instruments graphing calculator, you may want to punch along or watch and then try. Okay, several buttons are important to us. This y equals button right here, y equals, brings up a menu where you can type in equations. That's lovely. This graph button right here, once I have something typed in, it will show it on a graph. That button is going to be important to us. We also have a second button here, which accesses the other functions that each of the buttons has. So for today, we're going to need to do the second function of our trace button, which is calculate. Okay, and we're going to calculate an intersection. So we're going to need second calculate and then arrowing down to number 5 for intersect. Okay. Some other buttons that are important to us. This button right here is our X key. And let me just quit out of this so we're not looking at that anymore. This is our X key. It makes X's. There. There's a difference between minus and negative. So anytime you need negative, here is your negative key. This is minus. And then we'll talk about other things as they become necessary. Okay, so we're going to go to our y equals key to type in our 2 equations. Now it'll let us type in up to 7 equations, but we will only have 2. So for the first problem, I have already solved them to y equals form. If not, we'll have to put them into y equals form. The first one is y equals 5x minus 13. So 5x minus 13. Okay, and then I can either hit enter to go to the next one, or I can just use my down arrow right here to go to the next one. My next equation is y equals 1/3 x plus 1. Now my calculator doesn't like fractions. Like if I just typed in 1 divided by 3x, my calculator is going to be confused. It needs the fraction to be in a parenthesis. So here are our parentheses right here. So 1 divided by 3 in a parenthesis, and then my x. And it'll know that that's 1/3 x plus 1. Okay, so now I have my 2 equations entered. I'll pause in case you're entering them yourself. Okay, so if we go to the graph, the calculator actually graphs both of those equations. That's lovely. And now this looks like 3, 2 maybe, but I'm going to have my calculator calculate it just to be sure. So I'm going to go to the second function of trace, which is calculate, and I want it to calculate where they intersect. So I can either arrow down to 5 or hit 5. My calculator now starts asking me questions. It's saying, was there a first curve? And I'm going to hit enter. Now it's using curve because not everything is a line in math. I'm going to hit enter to say yes. Now it's saying, was there a second curve? I'm going to hit enter to say yes. And then it asks me the really important question. It says, guess where the intersection is. And I'm going to use my left and right arrows to guess. It's not as important for us. It becomes more important in Algebra 2 and pre-calculus and calculus to be able to go close and make a guess. So don't worry if your guess isn't exactly on. But the minute you hit enter, after you've made your guess, it tells us that the intersection is at x equals 3, y equals 2. So it was at 3, 2. Okay, so now let's go back to y equals. And we're going to clear. And then I'm going to arrow down and clear the second one. And then I'm going to go back up to the first one. Okay, new system. Y equals 3x plus 5. 3, there's my x key, plus 5. And I can either arrow down or enter. My second equation is negative 2x minus 6. So negative, not minus, but negative 2x and then minus 6. Notice they look different on the screen too, negative and minus. I'm going to go back to my graph. Okay, I see that they're meeting right here. It's definitely not a pretty intersection, so I'm going to have my calculator find it. So second, calculate, number 5. Is that the first curve I put in? Sure. Second curve? Sure. My guess. Now you may want to hit the up arrow, but actually it's just the left and right arrows that will move you left and right. So use your left and right or right arrows to get close. That's my guess. And it says the actual intersection is at x equals negative 2.2, y equals negative 1.6. And there we have it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to y equals, clear, arrow down and clear that one. Okay, go back up to the first equation. We have y equals negative 2x plus 1, so negative 2x plus 1. My second equation is y equals 1/4 x minus 17. So my 1/4, 1 divided by 4, I should put in parentheses, x minus 17. Graph. Something appears to be wrong. I don't have 2 equations on my screen. Check for typos. No. Okay, so if there are no typos, something went wrong. Well, let's look at these equations. The second equation has a y-intercept at negative 17. Negative 17. Well, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this only goes to negative 10. So my y-intercept is way off the screen. I can fix that by changing my window. My window says my x minimum is negative 10. My x maximum is positive 10. So side to side, I'm going from negative 10 to 10. That's fine. The problem is my y minimum, I sort of need it to be something like, how about negative 20, so that negative 17 will actually show up. Let's see if that works. Ah, there it is. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so there it is. There it is. It's now on the screen. So I'm going to second calculate an intersection. Is that the first curve? Yes. Is that the second curve? Yes. My guess is that it's over here. There. The intersection is at x equals 8, y equals negative 15, so 8 comma negative 15 is my solution. Now, we've changed the window, so you can either go back to window and fix this, say like, oh, that was supposed to be negative 10, or you can go to this zoom key, zoom, and zoom standard. Zoom to the standard window, and that'll automatically fix your window. Now we're going to go back to the graph that doesn't look right. Okay, so let's clear this out. Clear that out. And try one more. So y equals x plus 17. And y equals 1/5 x plus 1. Oops, forgot my divide. 1/5 x plus 1. Okay, I can already see that I'm probably going to have some trouble, but I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah, I'm going to have some trouble here. But the problem is, now I'm looking at this. I can see part of this line, and I can see part of this line. And I have a sense that if I had graph paper, I could extend them this way, right? And they would meet somewhere over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my window, and I'm going to make my low x value, my x minimum, something over here. So little bits of strategy. My x minimum, I'm going to try negative 20. Let's see if that works. Oh, almost. I almost have it. Yeah. So maybe I'm going to go back and change it to negative 24. I'm just playing around. Feel free to play around. That's great. Now I can see it for sure. Second, calculate. Number 5. Yes, that's the first curve. Yes, that's the second curve. And my guess is that it is over here. So the intersection is at negative 20, negative 3. So negative 20 comma negative 3. Okay, I'm going to zoom 6. Well, I'm going to zoom 6 to put my window back so I'm ready for my next problem. There we go. I'm going to clear and clear. But those are all the problems I have for today. Please be sure that either you or your partner have a graphing calculator that you can practice with for tomorrow's problems in class. Maybe borrow one from someone in your homeroom if you don't have one, because it's really good to punch along on a graphing calculator. See you tomorrow.